Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Speak Smart podcast. Today we are diving into something I think a lot of you have probably wondered about. Should you use subtitles when you are trying to improve your English?
Yeah. Are they a friend or foe?
Right. Are they a secret weapon that's going to unlock fluency or a trap that's going to hold you back?
Yeah, it is the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It really is.
And I think, truthfully, the answer is there's no one-size-fits-all answer here. It really depends.
Okay.
But what we can do is dive into some of the research that's out there.
Yeah.
And some of the things that language learning experts and enthusiasts have discovered through their own experiences.
Awesome. So where do we even begin?
Well, I think we should probably start by just acknowledging how appealing subtitles are.
Yeah.
I mean, they make English movies and TV shows accessible.
Especially for beginners.
Exactly. Especially if you're just starting out, you can follow the story, you can enjoy the humor, and maybe pick up some new words along the way.
That makes total sense because, if you're lost and you're frustrated, you're not going to want to keep watching.
Right. And that's the opposite of what we want.
Yeah, you're not going to learn if you don't enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly. That's why enjoying is so important when you're learning a language.
Yeah.
So think of subtitles as a way to unlock the content that you love. So you're not viewing this as a chore. You're viewing it as a treat.
I like that. And actually, I think one of the sources we looked at talked about how even just watching children's shows with English subtitles on can be effective.
Yeah, it can be surprisingly effective.
Why is that?
It's all about reinforcement.
Okay.
When you see those words written out, as you're hearing them spoken, it just strengthens the connection between the sound and the spelling in your brain.
Oh, okay.
So it's a double whammy when it comes to vocabulary acquisition and pronunciation.
So it's not even just about understanding what's being said, but it's about taking in the language.
Yeah, you're absorbing it at a deeper level.
Yeah.
And let's not forget also about accents and dialects, right?
Oh my gosh.
Subtitles can be a lifesaver when you're trying to understand somebody who's speaking really fast or
they have an accent that you're not used to.
Exactly. Or a very strong regional dialect.
I was watching one time, I think it was a British crime drama, and I was so lost because of the slang.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a perfect example of how subtitles can really help you prepare for real world English, right? Mm-hmm. Because when you go out into the world, you're going to encounter a huge variety of accents and different speeds people speak at and all those colloquialisms.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So subtitles can kind of help you get ready for that.
Yeah. Okay, so it sounds like so far the subtitles are pretty great. But I know there's another side to this story.
Yeah, definitely.
What are some of the arguments against using them?
Well, one of the biggest concerns, I think, is that you can become too reliant on subtitles.
Okay.
And you might not challenge yourself enough. Your brain needs to be challenged in order to learn. And sometimes those subtitles can provide a shortcut.
Okay.
That your listening skills might not develop as a result.
So it's kind of like if you always use a calculator.
Yeah.
You're not going to
learn how to do the math.
Right, exactly. Okay, so you can get too reliant on them, and what else?
And then there's also the concern that they might distract you from actually fully enjoying the movie or TV show that you're watching.
Right.
You're so focused on reading those words that you miss out on the visual cues and the body language.
Yeah.
The subtle expressions the actors are using.
All the emotion.
Exactly.
Right? Because it's one thing to read the script.
Yeah.
But then when you see an actor deliver those lines, it can be so different.
Yes.
Because you get to see all of those visual cues and the emotion in their voice.
The tone of voice, yeah. And all of those things are so important to actually understanding a story and understanding the language.
Yeah, okay, I see that. Okay, so it seems like subtitles, they can be good, they can be bad, it just depends, right?
Yeah.
So I guess the key is figuring out how to use them strategically so we can boost our learning without becoming too dependent.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. It's all about using them strategically as a part of your language learning.
Okay.
It's not about, subtitles good, subtitles bad. It's how do you use them effectively?
Right. Good.
So I like to think of them as training wheels,
Yeah.
When you first learn to ride a bike, you need those training wheels.
Exactly.
But eventually you want to be able to take them off and ride on your own.
Right. Okay, so what are some practical tips for using them strategically?
Well, I think a great approach is to just start small.
Okay.
You don't have to dive headfirst into watching, a 2-hour movie with no subtitles.
Right.
Start with short clips or scenes, maybe 5 or 10 minutes long, just to test the waters.
Okay, little baby steps, right?
Right. Exactly. Baby steps. And then as you get more comfortable, you can increase the amount of time that you watch without subtitles.
Okay, I like that. And another thing I remember was this idea of dual subtitles.
Yes.
I've never heard of this before, but what is that?
It's super simple. So you basically watch with subtitles in both English and your native language at the same time.
Oh, wow.
So you have both of them displayed simultaneously.
Oh.
So you can see the translation if you need it, but you're also getting that visual exposure to the English words.
So it's like having a dictionary right there on the screen with you.
Exactly. And then as your English gets better, you can start to like wean yourself off of the native language subtitles
Okay.
and rely more on just the English ones.
And then another thing I remember reading about was rewatching like familiar movies and TV shows, but this time without the subtitles on.
Yes, that's a great strategy because since you already know the plot, you already know the characters, you can really relax and focus on the language.
Right.
You're not trying to figure out the storyline. You're really paying attention to the nuances of the language.
It takes the pressure off.
Exactly.
I see. And then I think choosing the right content is important too.
Yeah,
right?
right.
So like starting with something that have clear and slow speech.
Yeah, like educational videos, for example, that are made for English learners. They speak a little bit slower, and it's a great way to get used to listening to natural English.
And then don't forget the pause and replay button.
Yes,
That is my go-to when I come across like a phrase or word that I just don't get.
absolutely. It's a classic technique for a reason,
Right.
because it allows you to really like break down the language, focus on the pronunciation, and actually internalize those tricky bits.
Yeah.
But the key is to be an active listener, not a passive listener.
Mm-hmm.
So, don't just let the words wash over you.
Okay.
Like, take notes. Look up new words and try to use those words in your own conversations.
So it's about actively engaging.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
the content.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so we're ready to talk about some practical exercises that can help people ditch subtitles completely.
Yes, let's do it.
Okay.
So let's start with an exercise called the 3-step listening challenge.
Okay.
So this is a really simple but super effective exercise that you can do to kind of gradually wean yourself off of subtitles and build your confidence.
Okay. Like it already. Tell me more.
So step 1, you're going to choose a short video clip, 3 to 5 minutes long, something that's interesting to you,
Okay.
something engaging, and you're going to watch that clip with subtitles in your native language.
Got it. So you're getting the gist of it.
Exactly. You're familiarizing yourself with the story, the dialogue.
Okay. What's next?
Step 2, you're going to watch the same clip again, but this time with English subtitles.
Okay.
So now you're really focusing on matching those English words to the sounds that you're hearing.
Okay.
Pay attention to new vocabulary. Try to make those connections between the written form and the spoken form.
I see. Okay. So you're starting to build those connections.
Exactly. And then for step 3, this is the challenge. You're going to watch that same clip one more time.
Okay.
But this time with no subtitles at all.
Oh, wow.
So use the context that you've built up in those first 2 steps and see how much you can understand just from listening.
So you're kind of testing yourself.
Exactly. It's all about building your confidence
I see.
and your independence with your listening skills.
So you're taking the training wheels off.
Yes. Now, are you ready for one more exercise?
Yes. Bring it on. I'm feeling motivated.
Okay, this one's called Pause and Predict.
Okay.
So this is a little bit more interactive and a little bit more fun.
Okay.
So you're going to watch a video this time without any subtitles.
Mm-hmm.
And then every minute or so, you're going to pause the video
Okay.
and try to predict what's going to happen next or what the characters might say.
So you're really like engaging with the content.
Exactly. It forces you to think in English.
Right. And you're trying to like figure out what's going to happen next.
Yeah, you're using those context clues you're anticipating. Mm-hmm.
And then after you've made your prediction, hit play again and see if you were right.
Okay, that sounds really good for understanding how conversations work and understanding the flow and being able to
Yeah, infer meaning
Yes.
from the context.
Awesome. So these exercises are really all about training your brain to think in English
Yes.
without needing those subtitles.
Exactly. And remember, it's a process, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to see results overnight.
Of course.
So be patient with yourself and
Yeah.
just keep practicing.
And celebrate the small wins, right?
Yes. Celebrate those small victories.
Because it is a journey.
It is a journey.
It's not a destination. People want to be fluent like
I
that.
want to be fluent like that. Yeah.
And it's like, no, it takes time.
It takes time, and subtitles can be a really useful tool on that journey, as long as we use them wisely.
Right. And we don't let them become a crutch.
I love that analogy of the training wheels and taking them off. And yeah, you're right. It is a journey. It's not like you just become fluent overnight.
Yeah, exactly.
So we've talked a lot about subtitles, but I'm curious, what other advice do you have for someone who wants to improve their English,
Yeah.
beyond watching movies and TV shows.
Well, you know what, the sources that we were looking at, they made this really great point that you should think about all the ways that you engage with language in your everyday life, in your native language,
Okay.
and see if there are ways that you can do some of those same things, but in English.
Okay. So it's like finding opportunities to immerse yourself.
Exactly. It's all about immersion.
Okay.
So, for example, do you listen to music?
Yeah. All the time.
Okay. Do you listen to music in your native language?
I do. Yeah.
So maybe try switching it up and listening to more English songs.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Or, what about your phone?
What about it?
You could change the language settings on your phone to English.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I bet you pick up a lot of new vocabulary that way too.
You totally would. And it might feel a little weird at first,
Right.
but I bet you'd be surprised how quickly you adapt.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. What else?
What about podcasts? Do you listen to podcasts?
I do actually. Yeah. I like to listen to them when I'm like commuting.
Oh, perfect. So there are tons of amazing podcasts out there in English
Oh, yeah.
on all sorts of topics.
Okay.
So that's a fantastic way to improve your listening comprehension
Right.
and, learn some new stuff at the same time.
So find some English podcasts. I'm writing this down.
Yes. And have you ever considered joining a language exchange?
I haven't really thought about that.
Or like finding an online community
Okay.
of other English learners?
And what's the benefit of that?
It's all about practicing speaking.
Okay.
I know it can be intimidating
Oh, Brenner.
to speak in a new language,
Yeah.
but honestly, the more you do it, the more confident you'll become.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And in a language exchange, you can help somebody learn your native language while they're helping you with English.
It's a win-win.
Exactly.
Okay. I like that. I think I'm going to look into that.
Yeah, and I think the most important thing to remember is just to be patient with yourself.
Yeah.
You're not going to see results overnight,
Right?
Just keep practicing and stay curious and enjoy the journey.
Yeah. And like every little bit counts.
It does.
Even if it's just watching one short video in English without subtitles.
Yes, exactly. And you know what? Maybe one day you will be watching those British crime dramas and understanding every single word.
Fingers crossed. That is the dream.
Yeah.
Well, this has been so helpful. Thank you so much for sharing all of this with us today.
My pleasure.
To everyone listening out there who's learning English, keep up the great work.
Yes, you're doing great.
You're amazing. And remember, subtitles, they are a tool,
They are a tool.
not a crutch. Use them wisely, stay motivated, and I know you'll be speaking English confidently in no time.
Yeah, and have fun.
Yes, learning a language should be fun.
It should be.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into the world of subtitles and language learning. We hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please hit that subscribe button and like this episode and join us next time for another deep dive on the Speak Smart podcast.